Welcome to UU News, a flash news segment where we explore the most fascinating topics happening across the universe. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jacqueline. The first news story we have for you this week: 70,000-year-old ochre crayons from Crimea reveal Neanderthals engaged in symbolic behaviors. And you can take a wild guess where I pulled this from: phys.org.
Of course.
So, archaeologists have uncovered definitive evidence that Neanderthals used ochre as symbolic drawing tools, overturning stereotypes of them as primitive brutes. Led by Professor Francesco De Erico of the University of Bordeaux, the team analyzed 16 ochre fragments from Neanderthal sites in Crimea and the Ukraine, some up to 70,000 years old. Using advanced scanning and portable X-ray technology, they identified a yellow ochre piece from the Makokian period, which is 130,000 to 33,000 years ago, deliberately shaped into a crayon-like implement. Its tip was repeatedly resharpened and reused for marking different surfaces. Two other fragments displayed engraved patterns, polished edges, and wear consistent with prolonged use as drawing tools. The deliberate shaping, curation, and engraved motifs prove Neanderthals engaged in symbolic behavior, drawing, decorating, and expressing themselves with meaning, D'Erico had said. Published this week in Science Advances, the findings place Neanderthal cognition on par with early Homo sapiens, suggesting ochre was used to mark bodies, clothing, cave walls, or hides, pushing symbolic culture back tens of thousands of years. Once thought exclusive to modern humans, such creativity now redefines Neanderthals as sophisticated and symbolically aware. The team urges renewed excavations across Eastern Europe where more evidence of Neanderthal art may await discovery. So yeah, they were out there drawing,
There's nothing new under the sun.
right? Like,
Ancient Crayola crayons.
it was an ancient Crayola crayon, a yellow one.
I bet it was that dandelion. That's the best one.
The
The
dandelion, yes.
dandelion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's special.
I mean, if you pick something up and it made a mark, wouldn't you start marking things with it? Of course you would.
Oh, yeah, we used to do that as kids. We'd find that clay. I live in Georgia, so you dig deep enough, you hit clay. There's red clay, and then there's that white clay. I forget what
Mhm.
it's called. But, yeah, we would roll it up into little crayons, sit it in the sun, let it dry, and we'd write on the house
Sure.
with it. I mean, it's we came up with that as kids all on our own, so I fully believe that they had ancient Neolithic crayons.
Of course. Of course. I was speaking with a friend the other day about how, remember when you were a kid, you get the red Smartie and
Oh,
you lick
yeah.
it and you put the lipstick on with the red Smartie? Yeah, of
Oh,
course you'd
yeah.
come up with that. Of course they were doing that. So I'm glad that they made a definitive discovery, which kind of solidifies that into their culture. So
It's
yeah, very
ingrained into
cool.
our DNA.
I think so. Yeah. And theirs apparently. So what
Oh,
you got,
yeah.
girl?
I have Twisting Secrets of the Sun's Million-Degree Crown finally revealed. So we got a sun
Mm.
story today. For 80 years, they were ghosts, predicted, modeled, but never seen. Until now. Predicted in 1942 by Nobel Prize-winning physicist Hannes Alvin, torsional Alvin waves were long suspected to be the hidden engine behind the sun's greatest mystery, a corona that burns millions of degrees hotter than the star's own surface. Now, the ghosts have been caught. Using the Daniel K. Inouye Solar Telescope, the world's most powerful solar observatory perched atop Maui, scientists have directly observed these elusive waves for the first time. On October 24th, 2025, a landmark study published in Nature Astronomy revealed the truth. Invisible spirals of magnetic energy are twisting through the corona at breakneck speed, like cosmic corkscrews drilling into the solar atmosphere. These aren't gentle vibrations, they're high voltage power lines. Each wave carries a surge of energy strong enough to superheat plasma and hurl the solar wind across the solar system, sometimes slamming into Earth and sparking auroras or threatening satellites or power grids. The breakthrough came from a single subtle clue: near infrared light flickering with Doppler shifts. On one side of the magnetic flux tube, plasma races towards us. On the other, it speeds away. That's the signature of pure rotation, proof of torsional motion in action. This discovery doesn't just close a chapter in solar physics, it rewrites the rules of space weather. By confirming how energy flows from the sun's turbulent interior to its outer atmosphere, scientists can now better predict solar storms, protect astronauts, and safeguard technology. After 8 decades of theory, the sun just whispered its secret, and we finally heard it.
Right. So
What?
basically, yeah, this guy just theorizes about these, makes a prediction that they exist, and we just discovered them. like what, like
80 years
70,
later,
80 years later.
something like
Yeah.
yeah.
So imagine that we're, how long before we're able to practically apply harnessing that untapped power. That would be incredible.
Well,
That
the
would be,
discovery of it is the first step, and now we can
yeah.
theorize ways to utilize this to our advantage, I would think. I mean, and William Schwant may know more about this, definitely knows more about this than we do. But,
William, what do you think?
what do you think?
Yeah.
Is yeah.
Yeah, that's like a mass, like I can't even quantify the amount of
This is the
untapped
type
power
of
that
this
is.
is the amount of energy that we would need to pull off what he was talking about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very cool thing. Also, not my forte, solar physics, but nonetheless, still fascinating. Still, I mean, our potential is just so great.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
really are at the foot of a large, large mountain, and the only way to go is up right now, but now that we know about it, maybe we can harness this somehow. How can we exploit this to our advantage, says the human.
Yeah. Someone will find a way. That's for sure.
We
Yeah.
gotta do it, or we have to turn it into a sex thing. One of those 2 things.
Either
It's the
one will
law.
sell.
Yep, either one.
Either one will sell. Wow, yeah,
Yep.
that's a cool story. So that's going to do it for our news this week. If you have an interesting story that you'd like to see us cover, you can drop it in the comments below.
And don't forget, we do episodes every other Wednesday, and we also do weekly news updates every Sunday at 11:11. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Have a
Bye.
great week. Bye.